And that commitment is to know the deepest truth of yourself, of this world, of the other, of healing, of spirituality, of the divine. It's to know that deepest layers of that. And so this idea that often in my experience, what happens in the face of that, it can begin to feel like our problems are accentuating, right? It's when we start to do a meditation practice, if we really start to sit down and say, for 30 minutes, I'm going to meditate every day, it can feel like we're going insane, because all of a sudden there's so much thought, and you're like, where did all this thought come from? That thought has always been there, but we've been so distracted from it, we never knew that it was there. So I think of it in that way. I think of, look, I don't know the answer to the question, where will there be one day when you're just resting in some permanent sort of peace? I mean, that's the fantasy, isn't it? I mean, that's the image, right? That's the Buddha, that's Christ, that's we're going to be resting. And instead of really talking about that, I think just sharing our own direct experience. And mine is that when we make the kind of commitment that you've made, you're basically calling out to the universe, I'm here and I'm ready, and I want to make contact with everything that's unlived within me. And so when we make that sort of commitment, we might expect there to be a little tumult. And so you go off on retreat, you have these powerful experiences, you do this workshop, and then you're back home, and then, oh my God. And then you start to question, did anything really change? I mean, it seemed like so much was happening. I was in this beautiful state and everything was opening up and heaven was so clear. It was so clear. I was like at the gates. And then I've returned and there's that annoying wife, husband, child, dog, etc. So I just want to, all I can do is reflect back to you that my sense, just intuitive sense, it's all I can offer because I don't know you, is that you're illustrating exactly, I think, what I was speaking about in the moment, is that there's a sense that you've cut through, that you really have worked through, you've seen through, you've cut through a very gross level of your own sort of suffering, misperception, trauma, trance, shadow material. But this is the path of the heart that we've signed up for. That path is not the one of transcending all of that material and wiggling into some permanently transcended state where we transcend the entirety of our embodied vulnerability. Because here's what I'll say. If you're going to be working with others, that vulnerability, that sensitivity, that achiness inside of you, that you're like, why, that is the doorway to compassion for those clients that you're going to be working with. Like there is a way, and this is part of this wounded healer thing that can be so annoying. But it's also so precious on some level, is that if you've also committed to sort of being there for another person, there is a way that staying in touch with your own wounding, with the own depth of how that wounding is unfolding, is the doorway of compassion for you to be able to meet and reach those other people. There's something about that crack in your heart, that crack in the armor. And does the spiritual path, will the healing path, will I be able to patch up all of those cracks? I mean, from my perspective, there's some traditions, there are some approaches that would say, yes, of course you can patch all of that up. I guess what I would say in response to that is, why would you want to? I know it's hard, and I know that experience of tasting that, of coming back, and then all of a sudden it's, oh my God, where, all of this stuff is still here. That is the Prima Materia. That is what the alchemists are talking about by the Prima Materia. That is the material that's, one alchemist called it, or maybe it was Young, the muck or the slime of the small world. All of those little sort of nagging little things, that is the path. And so I don't have anything much more than that. And in terms of more of the metaphysical question of, do we ever get to a place where, you guys are going to have to go make that journey and come back and tell me what you discover. I don't really have an answer to that, other than my sense is that if there's a few cracks in your armor, a few cracks in your heart where that light can get in, where it hurts, where it aches, where it's a little bit claustrophobic, that is a part of the way that you'll connect with those people that you're going to help. And if all of that was patched up and you were risen above all of that, and I think it might be difficult to do the healing work that you want to do. That's just just an intuitive sense about it.